Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie, and Teen Wolf is back for the summer. Since a lot of you requested it, I'm going to be doing weekly videos for Season 4. So I'm not planning on doing Q&A videos, but if you want me to do bonus videos like I did for Game of Thrones, just let me know. Be sure to subscribe to get everything too. It's going to be a lot of fun. This episode was kind of that limbo state between old crew when we still had Allison and Isaac, and the new team with Malia and Kira. There's a bunch of new other characters we haven't met this season, and it's going to completely change the tone of the show, but we have to have this episode to bridge the gap. It's all about paying off what happened to Derek at the end of Season 3. The theme of Season 4 overall is Can't Go Back, which is interesting because they actually left Beacon Hills to go on a Mexican road trip. So what I'm going to do is my top 5 moments, then I'll do my review, and then I'm going to talk about how Season 4 is going to be different and why that's a good thing. I'll just give you a big teaser right now. If you like Season 1, you're going to love Season 4. So careful for spoilers from the episode if you haven't seen it yet, but here we go. Number 5, Wolfsbane Gas Dance Party. The reason they went to the club was because they found the werewolf hunter shell casings with the insignia of that family, the Calaveras. They're just another hunter family like the Argents. They're not really bad or good. They're just Nazis about sticking to the hunter's code. So the dance party was basically there to introduce the new team as it exists right now, just like give them their grand stage entrance. I love that Malia was the one who had to tell Kira to fit in when she's like the worst person ever at fitting in. The two of them are still kind of outsiders, even after spending most of Season 3 trying to help Scott and Styles. There was a bit of Malia-Kira shipping in this moment, but I don't think that's going anywhere. I think they were just being fun. I think the show is mostly going to be pushing Malia Styles and Kira Scott this season. Number 4, Teen Wolf recaps in a Jeep. This episode was all about bridging the gap between the old team and the new team, so naturally the car ride is used to tell the story from Season 1 through Season 3, even the prehistory on how Paul became the Alpha. It was also meant to set up what Kate is going to be in Season 4. She's been one of the craziest villains that the show has had, and she's also going to continue to be a really big thing in Season 4. She's not necessarily going to be the main villain, and I don't think she's the mysterious benefactor that we've been teased with in the trailers, but I'll talk about that in a sec. All the recapping was also meant to set up the idea that once they do get back to Beacon Hills, they won't be able to literally go back to the way things were. It's a metaphor for what happened with Derek, the physical transformation he went through, and the show itself. Both Crystal Reed and Daniel Sharman asked to leave the show, and anytime a show loses 2 major characters, things get a little weird. I don't think that Teen Wolf is going to reinvent itself in Season 4, but they are doing a bit of a soft reset, which is why I think it's going to feel a lot more like Season 1. Number 3, Lydia tests her abilities. Apparently killing people in whichever town they're in Mexico is no big deal. I love that nobody made a scream whenever that guy died. No screams, no police sirens. This big test just informs what's going to be happening with Lydia's character this season. She's going to be developing her powers to the point where she can be way more CSI with the way she derives clues. She'll be like Banshee Sherlock this season, and Styles is going to be her Watson. She's probably grown more as a character since Season 1 than anyone else on the show. I love Holland Roden, but Season 1 Lydia was pretty off-putting before her transformation. That's just her hero's journey. If you're not familiar with Joseph Campbell, it just spells out the archetypal hero's journey from normal person to hero, back to normal person. A lot of fiction and television writers use it to develop characters. Lydia's journey in Season 4 is just going to be learning to master her supernatural abilities and retain her humanity. It's the same thing that's going on with all the other characters, like Scott learning to be an alpha and Malia learning to be human. Number 2, Derek is transformed into young Derek. The Derek we see is his younger self, played by the actor Ian Nelson, who has played young Derek in previous flashbacks. There's a number of giant questions raised by this, including, what is the effect of the dark moon on the supernatural in general? What is the significance of the Aztec temple belonging to those were-jaguars, and why was Derek entombed behind a symbol of their god? Who was the figure in the bone armor? Because it definitely wasn't Kate. She was busy harassing all the people in the Jeep. And how is all this connected to the benefactor in the Deadpool list? Since this episode was all about following up on the Derek plot, presumably in episode 2 we're going to learn about the new characters, the benefactor, and the Deadpool list. The Deadpool is both an awesome homage to the comic book character Deadpool, and it's a kill list of all the supernatural creatures living in Beacon Hills. It's like Teen Wolf is going to be paying homage to Death Note this season, and the benefactor will be like the light Yagami of the stories. So if you like that anime, you're going to love Season 4. And my number 1 moment, WTF is Kate. It's pretty clear she's not just a werewolf. Based on her taking Derek to the Aztec temple, I think we can assume she's a were-jaguar. I love the way the show deepens the mythology every season. Last year got super crazy with the Kitsune, the Oni, the Nemeton, etc. The list just goes on and on. Supposedly, this season is supposed to be a bit of a reprieve from the super dark direction of Season 3. They're not just going to keep making it more depressing and make us feel awful every week. That's why they're weaving a lot of familiar things like lacrosse back into the story. So they're headed back to Beacon Hills, and I think the benefactor is going to turn out to be someone who's using Kate to cause more chaos, because she's supposed to be a big part of the plot in Season 4. I'm pretty sure she's not that creature with the bone armor that Scott was fighting. That person was featured in the trailer, so it's probably going to follow them back as well and cause a bunch of trouble between lacrosse games. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the new characters we haven't met yet is part of a were-jaguar family that just happened to move to town. But now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite moment, and do you have a favorite ship yet? I know they said that they're not going to do a lot of romance this season, but there will be a lot of funny ship moments. I'm actually most excited to see Scott develop his pack. An alpha has to have a pack. And there were a few spoilers about who would be joining him, but I don't want to say in this video just in case you don't want to know. If you have heard spoilers though and you want to comment about it, just use spoiler tags. Overall, I gave the episode a solid B+. It was a lot of fun, and it's going to be one of my favorite summer shows next to Legend of Korra, which is funny because Teen Wolf actually shares a lot in common with that show. If you've never seen any of the Avatar series like Last Airbender or Legend of Korra, it revolves around this idea of the 4 elements: air, water, earth, fire. So each new season of Avatar is themed after a different element. The opening title scenes of Teen Wolf also revolve around elements, like when we had the red in the title sequence whenever Scott was becoming an alpha, which is kind of like the air element. During Season 2, we had water during the opening titles. It's just a fun observation, but maybe the Teen Wolf people are Avatar fans, I don't know. In this title scene, in the Season 4 title scene, there's a whole lot of sand, which kind of makes me think it might be Earth-based. Usually the title scenes inform whatever the season is going to be about, thematically at least, so be sure to write your theories about what you think Season 4 is going to be about in the comments. So the other big thing that stood out to me in the episode, between this balancing act of old team versus new team, was also the new characters' relationships with each other, their human relationships, not just the funny ship, romantic stuff. The writer said that this year is going to focus a lot more on the human relationships as opposed to the crazy supernatural ones from Season 3. That's why we're going back to a ton of lacrosse. It's where we started in Season 1 before Scott and everyone got thrown into the supernatural world. The difference this season, though, is that everyone that's been around since Season 1 is so much more mature. So Scott, Styles, Lydia can be mentors to all these new freshman characters that are coming on. Way better mentors than Derek was to Tyler and Styles. He was the worst mentor ever, unless you count Paul. So like I said, I'm going to be doing weekly videos for each episode of Teen Wolf. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. Also, let me know if you want me to do bonus mythology videos, and I'll start posting those on Monday mornings. So right now, because I don't have any more Teen Wolf videos for you to watch yet, click here or here to learn about Avatar Legend of Korra. It's starting this Friday. It has a lot in common with Teen Wolf, and it's going to be super fun. So be sure to check it out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. High fives.